These songs of 1970 shaped our youth, but somehow slipped through the cracks of time. If you lived through these golden years, you're about to rediscover some old friends. If you're new to these tracks, you're in for a remarkable journey through music history. Let's begin with Marmalade's Reflections of My Life.
Reflections of my life.
The Scottish band Marmalade started in Glasgow in 1961 as the Gaylords, before wisely changing their name. They were actually rejected by the Beatles' Apple Records, a decision that would come back to haunt the label when Reflections sold over 2 million copies worldwide in 1969 through 1970. The recording of Reflections of My Life showcases one of the earliest uses of reverse guitar recordings in pop music, with guitarist Junior Campbell spending over 30 hours perfecting the solo. The haunting lyrics about war and societal changes resonated deeply during the Vietnam era, though radio stations initially hesitated to play it due to its anti-war undertones. Here's something most people don't know. The song's co-writer, Junior Campbell, created the memorable guitar solo by recording it normally, then flipping the tape over and recording it again. This technique was so innovative that even the Beatles' engineering team at Abbey Road wanted to know how they achieved the sound. Next up is the Pipkins' Gimme Dat Ring. This bizarre hit came from the unlikely duo of Tony Burrows and Roger Greenway, two successful session singers who never intended to form a real band. The song was originally written for a children's TV show, but took on a life of its own. The recording session for Gimme Dat Ring was actually a joke that got out of hand. Burrows and Greenaway recorded their parts in different vocal styles, including a deep bass voice and a Cockney accent, creating a novelty song that somehow captured the public's imagination. The track reached number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1970. A fascinating detail, Tony Burrows holds the unusual record of appearing on Top of the Pops 4 times in 1 year with 4 different acts. He was the voice behind White Plains, Edison Lighthouse, Brotherhood of Man, and the Pipkins, though many viewers never realized it was the same person. Brooke Benton's Rainy Night in Georgia.
Rainy night in Georgia
stands as a masterpiece of soulful storytelling. Benton, who had already experienced success in the 1950s, was actually struggling with health issues and a declining career when this song came along. Many radio stations had written him off as past his prime, but this track proved them wrong. The song was written by Tony Joe White, who wrote it based on his experiences as a truck driver in Georgia. Benton's deep, resonant voice brought the lyrics to life in ways that even White hadn't imagined. The recording took place during a genuine rainstorm in Nashville, and the producers incorporated the natural thunder into the track. Benton recorded this song in just one take, and when you listen closely, you can hear him holding back tears during the final verses. He later revealed that he was thinking about his own father, who had recently passed away. White Plains burst onto the scene with My Baby Loves Lovin' in 1970. My baby loves lovin'. Though many don't realize the band was actually formed from the ashes of another group, the Flower Pot Men. The lead singer, Tony Burrows, the same one from the Pipkins, was actually fired from the band right after their Top of the Pops appearance because he was involved in too many other projects. The song was written by Roger Cook and Roger Greenaway, who were prolific songwriters of the era but often worked behind the scenes. The track's production was incredibly complex for its time, featuring layered harmonies that took over 50 hours to record properly. The band went through 3 different drummers during the recording sessions because they couldn't get the exact rhythm they wanted. The most ironic part? The song that made White Plains famous wasn't even supposed to be theirs. It was originally intended for Brotherhood of Man, but they turned it down because they thought it was too bubblegum pop. Creedence Clearwater Revival's Looking Out My Back Door represents one of the band's most misunderstood tracks. John Fogerty wrote it for his then 3-year-old son Josh, but many fans and critics were convinced it was about drugs due to its whimsical lyrics about giants doing cartwheels and elephants playing in a band. The song's unique sound came from Fogerty's experimentation with country music, particularly the influence of Buck Owens and the Bakersfield sound. The recording sessions were particularly tense as the band was starting to fracture due to creative differences. Tom Fogerty, John's brother, actually left the group shortly after this song was recorded, citing his brother's controlling nature in the studio. Would you believe that the infamous do, do, do part of the song was actually a mistake? Fogerty had forgotten some of the lyrics during recording, but kept singing to keep the take going. The producer liked it so much that they kept it in the final version. Don't keep these memories to yourself. Click that share button and send this video to a friend who needs to hear these forgotten classics. And while you're at it, hit subscribe. We've got more musical treasures coming your way every week. Bobby Bloom's Montego Bay captures the essence of vacation paradise, but there's a darker story behind its creation. Bloom, a talented musician who had worked with Jeff Barry, wrote the song after a traumatic experience in Jamaica where he was actually robbed at gunpoint. He transformed that negative experience into a celebration of the island's beauty. The song's distinctive sound comes from real Jamaican instruments, including authentic steel drums that had to be specially imported for the recording. The whistling sound you hear throughout the track was actually created by Jeff Barry using a combination of his own whistling and an early synthesizer because they couldn't get the exact tropical bird sound that they were looking for. Tragically, Bobby Bloom never got to fully enjoy the song's success. He died in 1974 under mysterious circumstances involving a gun, with official reports calling it an accident. Many who knew him dispute this version of events to this very day. The Friends of Distinction brought us Love or Let Me Be Lonely, though they were often mistakenly believed to be the fifth dimension due to their similar vocal style. The group actually formed from the ashes of Ray Charles' backing band, and their sophisticated harmonies were developed through years of performing in LA jazz clubs. The recording of Love or Let Me Be Lonely pushed the boundaries of studio technology in 1970. The group insisted on recording their vocals together rather than separately, which was unusual for the time. They required a special booth setup to prevent sound bleeding between microphones, costing the studio thousands in modifications. What many don't know is that the Friends of Distinction passed on recording Aquarius, Let the Sunshine In, because they were working on this song. That track went to the fifth dimension and became one of the biggest hits of 1969. The Five Stairsteps, Ooh Child, came from a family group often called the First Family of Soul.
Ooh, child, things will be brighter.
Consisted of 5 siblings whose father noticed their talent when he bet his wife a new car that he could turn their children into a successful musical group. Let's just say he won that bet spectacularly. The song almost didn't get recorded because the youngest member of the group had laryngitis on the day of the recording. The producer wanted to reschedule, but the family couldn't afford another studio session. They pushed through, and if you listen carefully, you can hear the strain in some of the background vocals. Here's a surprising fact. The song had been sampled over 100 times in hip-hop tracks, and Tupac Shakur cited it as one of his favorite childhood songs. Mark Lindsay's And the Grass Won't Pay No Mind might be one of Neil Diamond's most overlooked compositions. Lindsay, the former lead singer of Paul Revere and the Raiders, recorded this song during a tense period when he was trying to break away from his band's signature colonial costumes and revolutionary image. The recording process was particularly unique because Diamond himself played piano on the track, but insisted on recording his parts separately after everyone else had gone home. He was reportedly so protective of his piano technique that he didn't want anyone to see how he achieved certain sounds. Fun fact, the tape of the original recording was almost lost in a studio fire. A quick-thinking intern grabbed it along with a handful of other masters as they ran out of the building. Hey guys, this journey through musical history needs your personal touch. Share your stories in the comments. Where were you when these songs were playing on the radio? Did you see any of these bands live? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss another trip down memory lane. The Hollies, He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, features a young Elton John on piano, though he was paid only £12 for his session work.
He ain't heavy, he's my brother.
The song's title came from a Boys Town advertisement the band saw in a magazine featuring a boy carrying his brother with a caption, "He ain't heavy, father, he's my brother." The recording nearly bankrupted the band because they insisted on using a full orchestra at a time when their record label was trying to cut costs. The group even took out personal loans to pay for the string section, believing so strongly in the song's potential. Joni Mitchell wrote Big Yellow Taxi after a trip to Hawaii, where she was shocked to see they had paved paradise to put up a parking lot.
Big yellow taxi come and took away my old man.
The song was actually written in a hotel room at 3 a.m. when Mitchell looked out her window and saw the massive parking lots that had replaced the natural landscape. The laugh at the beginning of the song wasn't planned. Mitchell was laughing at the producer's failure to properly start the tape machine. They kept it in because it perfectly captured the song's blend of humor and environmental commentary. The original recording features Mitchell playing a dulcimer she bought from a street performer in London. She had never played the instrument before, but learned it specifically for this song. And finally, Ike and Tina Turner's I Want to Take You Higher showcases the raw energy that made them legendary performers.
I wanna take you higher.
The song was recorded during one of the most turbulent periods in their relationship, with Tina later revealing she had visible bruises during the recording session that had to be covered with makeup. Despite the personal drama, the song's energy is undeniable. The horn section was recorded in a single take because they couldn't afford more studio time. The musicians had to stand in a circle around a single microphone, choreographing their movements to create the right balance. In a bitter twist of irony, this song about reaching new heights was one of the last major hits Ike and Tina would have together before their dramatic split. As we wrap up this musical journey through the forgotten gems of the 1970s, please be sure to subscribe to our channel for more hidden treasures from the past. Share this video with someone who appreciates real music, and leave a comment telling us which of these forgotten classics brought back the strongest memories for you. Until next time, keep those turntables spinning and those memories alive.